I think it's time for a pep talk, my brothers and sisters. I really do. I can tell many of you are down in the dumps. I can hear it. I can tell that the relentless media propaganda is taking a toll. I can tell that their phony polls and phony experts are beginning to demoralize you. That's what they want. That's their strategy. I can tell that the constant attacks on Sarah Palin and the passes they give Barack Obama and Joe Biden are frustrating you. I can tell that you're worried about all the reports of the new voters the Obama campaign is registering. I can tell that you're disgusted with the failure of our government to stop groups like Acorn from committing voter fraud and trying to steal elections town by town, state by state. I can tell that you're disgusted with all the trial lawyers and the Democrats who are in place to try to overturn election results that they don't like. I can tell you're frustrated with John McCain's answers in countering the socialist dogma and brazen lies spewed by Obama and his surrogates. And I can tell that you're fed up with the direction of our government, how it continues to consume more and more of your earnings, drives up fuel and food prices, and now undermines the very financial markets that are at the heart of this economy. I hear it. But it's time to stop whining. It's time to stop worrying. It's time to kick some liberal ass and take this country back. We owe it to our children. We owe it to ourselves. We owe it to our armed forces, who, as I speak, are confronting an enemy overseas on multiple battlefields. If they can do it, for God's sakes, this is a political matter here at home. We have to do our part too. Nobody can take anything from us unless we let them. They can't have our liberty unless we give it to them. They can't have our property unless we give it to them. And by God, they can't have our country unless we give it to them too. Nobody can defeat us on Election Day unless we let them defeat us on Election Day. Nobody can steal this election. Not Acorn, not the ACLU, not those rabid trial lawyers. No one. Unless we let them. Together, we are bigger than the left wing. We are bigger than the media. We are bigger than Harry Reid and Nancy Pelosi and all the rest of the leftists in the Democrat leadership put together. We are bigger than all the forces in this wonderful country who seek in this election to destroy our traditions, our institutions, and our values which we hold dear, and which our ancestors fought for, and which those men and women in uniform are fighting for as I speak. We're bigger than the enemy, foreign and domestic. So I ask conservatives, I ask moderates, I ask Republicans, I ask Reagan Democrats, I ask the independents, young people, middle-aged people, seniors, I ask men and women, I ask people of all races and all religions, all income levels, when they try to divide us and turn one against the other, when they try to make us angry with each other and jealous of each other, I ask all my fellow Americans, from whatever walk of life, to stand up for your country, and stand up for it now before it's too late. I ask you to take a sober look at what we're up against, and I ask you to become engaged, not to fear this adversary, but to kick his ass. I ask you to take this election as seriously as you've ever taken anything in your life. I ask you to fight for your faith, to fight for your family, to fight for your country, and to fight for your future. That's what our forefathers did, and by that I mean become active. For our sake and for God's sake, vote. Vote. We are hobbled by an imperfect presidential nominee. I am well aware of this. But imperfect as he is, he's not destructive to the ends. Barack Obama will say anything and do anything to become president. He wants it almost too much. His surrogates, whether they call themselves reporters or analysts, whether they call themselves professors or lawyers, whether they call themselves community activists or whatever they call themselves, they think they have this in the bag. Well, you know what? They don't get to make that decision. We get to make that decision. And if John McCain and Sarah Palin don't win election in November, if they're not our new president and vice president, that's on us. Well, Mark, he runs a crummy campaign. Well, Mark, why doesn't he say this in the debates? Well, Mark, why won't they let Palin be... Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know about you. As important as that is to some people, and I understand that, I already know what's important, don't you? I already know what has to be done, don't you? Well, Mark, what about all the independents who haven't made up their minds? Well, guess what? Sitting in your chair at home and complaining about it doesn't fix a damn thing. If you have family members, neighbors, friends in the workplace who haven't made up their mind, they are your responsibility. It's your responsibility to talk to them. It's your responsibility to make sure they don't cancel out your vote. Because this is your country too. And we can't leave it. We cannot leave it to the liberals in the media. We cannot leave it to the bar. We cannot leave it to Acorn and other scoundrels. We cannot leave it to these people to take this country from us. And I, for one, while I'll criticize when I need to criticize the conservative/Republican/whatever part of this campaign, I know what has to happen in the end, and so do you. If you're in Ohio or any of these other states that are voting right now, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? You should go vote. Vote today or tomorrow or whenever you can. Get it done. And then spend the rest of the time, up to Election Day, getting other people to vote. And I don't work for the League of Women Voters. If you're going to vote for Obama, I don't want you to vote. I want you to go shopping. I want you to do anything but vote. But if you're going to vote the right way, I feel you have an obligation to do more. Vote early if you can. Get other people out there to vote, because it's just too damn important. Does that mean I agree with everything McCain's going to do? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Anybody who's listened to this show for 3 minutes knows that's not true. But I cannot abide a ruthless Marxist as president of my country. A man who's willing to use the Justice Department and the IRS to go after private institutions. A man who's willing to unleash his hordes against talk show hosts and guests to try and suppress their free speech. A man who's willing to work with a group like Acorn, a fraudulent, phony nonprofit group that has as its purpose the overthrowing of this country. I will not abide sending a man into the White House who has as his friend terrorists who are in part responsible for the murder of police officers. I won't do it. I will not abide sending a man to the White House who has as a preacher an anti-Semite hate-monger. I won't put up with it. And how do we handle things like this in this country? We vote. We vote, we organize, and we get more people to vote. So when you ask me, Mark, what should we do? Which would be a very stupid question to ask me today. You vote, and you get other people to vote. We'll be right back.
Mark Levin.